Hello and welcome to this video about the CISSP certification. So what is the CISSP certification? The CISSP certification, or the Certified Information System Security Professional Certification, is a very prestigious certification given by ISC2 since 1994 and has been a leading certification in the field of cybersecurity ever since. In addition to being a requirement, or in many cases a desired certification by employers, in the US, the certification is acknowledged by the US Department of Defense as well as by the American National Standards Institution under the ANSI National Accreditation Board. In Europe, under the European Qualification Framework, is considered a level 7, which is basically the equivalent of a second degree. Another advantage of this certification is that there are currently 700,000 active CISSP worldwide in more than 170 different countries. So why would you want to pursue this certification? So first, this can create many career opportunities. As mentioned before, many managerial positions consider the CISSP to be desired, and some even a must. Second is credibility. Having a certification proves that you understand the world of cybersecurity, that you have invested time, energy, and money into your personal growth. It is also a great opportunity to expand your existing knowledge. It gives you a chance to branch out of the cybersecurity field you're currently in. CISSP is a vendor-neutral or vendor-agnostic certification. It provides a very broad view of different solutions and approaches, making you more versatile and less biased towards a certain vendor. Let's talk about the prerequisites. While there are almost no prerequisites to taking the exam, there are some prerequisites to become CISSP certified. Main one is work experience. You will need at least 5 years of professional experience in 2 or more of the exam domains, which we will cover in a bit. ISC2 offers a 1-year waiver, requiring you to have 4 years of professional experience if you have a relevant academic degree or if you currently hold a certification recognized by ISC2, such as the CCNA, CISM, and many others. What about the exam itself? The exam itself is based on the 8 domains of the Common Body of Knowledge, or CBK, representing 8 areas of expertise in information security. We'll cover those in depth in just a minute. During the exam itself, you will have 3 hours to answer anywhere between 100 to 150 questions. As CISSP is using computer adaptive testing, which means that the computer will estimate throughout the exam your progress and how many questions you have answered correctly, and based on that will present you with more questions as needed. While ISC2 doesn't really tell you the final score, know that you will need 700 out of 1000, or about 70% correct answers, in order to pass. As mentioned before, the CISSP is made of 8 different domains. The first one accounts for 16%, is security and risk management. This domain focuses on risk management principles, regulatory frameworks, compliance, ethics, and more. The next one accounts for 10%, is asset security, which covers identification, classification, and management of physical and digital information. Third, for 13%, is security architecture and engineering. This is a fairly technical domain that focuses on building secure information systems. This also includes cryptography and security controls. Domain 4, also accounts for 13%, is communication and network security. As the name suggests, it focuses on securing communication systems and networks. The next one, also 13%, is identity and access management. This domain focuses on secure access to systems and data through identity management and access controls. Next up, for 12%, is security assessment and testing. This covers different testing methods, vulnerability assessments, and penetration testing and audit. Another domain that is 13% is security operations. This focuses on day-to-day security operations, threat monitoring, and incident response. The last one, which accounts for 10%, is software development security, or SDLC. This focuses, of course, on integrating security principles into software development and code control. There are two main things you need to consider before beginning the exam prep. It's important to remember that this will require intensive practice. There are many different recommendations as to how many questions you need to practice. I'm going to go with at least 3,000, but of course the more the better. The reason you need to practice so many questions is not just to reinforce the knowledge itself, but to also reinforce the guiding principles and mindset required for this exam, some of which we'll cover in the next slide. When it comes to study time, remember, an inch deep but a mile long. It means that you need to dedicate about 3 hours a day for approximately 3 months. This should be enough to give you time to cover the entire CBK in depth. So let's talk about some of those key concepts. The first one is managerial thinking. Approach questions as a manager or consultant, not just as a technician. Remember that your role is to advise how to solve problems in the long run, not to put out fires. A lot of questions will offer that quick and easy fix, but remember, that's not always the correct answer. Another important concept to keep in mind is to balance between business and security needs. Security must support business operations, not the other way around. You must remember to almost always factor business needs first. So what happens after the exam? Well, first you must take into account that you may not pass the exam on your first attempt. You will be able to retake the exam based on the ISC2 retake policy. If you did pass the exam, but you have not met the prerequisites discussed earlier, you will be able to apply for what's called an ISC2 associate. And after gaining the necessary experience, you can apply to become CISSP certified. Assuming you do have the necessary prerequisites, there are still a few steps you will need to complete. First step is to find an endorser. This needs to be an active CISSP holder that can validate your experience. There's also a formal process of providing ISC2 with some information about your professional background as well as your personal background. You will also need to pay your first annual maintenance fee, or AMF. This will need to be paid yearly, but you will need to do that also for your first year right after you pass the exam. Another thing to consider, even though not required right after the exam, is that in your first 3 years and every 3 years that will follow, you will need to submit a report detailing your professional development activities and contributions to the community, also known as a CPE. Good luck on your CISSP exam, and thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Hey, if you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to also check the bell icon to make sure you get notifications about new videos just as they come out.